All right, plays just underway between Nova Scotia U18 and Newfoundland U19. Dan Hobbs and Matt Malotza along for the call here at this one. Nova Scotia U18, you have to say that you're impressed with their play. They have just gotten better as the championship's gone on. They survived that first 10 minutes against their counterpart U19 to start the championships, and they have just seemed to have gotten better and better, and that's what you want to see when you're coaching or you're part of a program, seeing them improve as they go up that line, I guess, the productivity curve, I guess.
And this would be the team that has the biggest growth opportunity. They're all in the first year in the age bracket, so yeah, some great strides to be made, and yeah, I think they're coming into their own now, as we say with some of the other teams. We're working out their combinations and working out the roles for everybody, but I think the tournaments are all sort of shaping up, and today is a moving day, and where everything's going to sort itself out on the leaderboard. And in this division, the number 1 seed gets a bye. 2-3 will play each other in a semifinal, and 4-5 will be in a consolation game. It's a great run by Isla gets the kick even a little bit easier. She's a fantastic finisher, Isla David.
Yeah, she's had a pretty good championship. A couple of tries there, I believe, yesterday. Everything is saying with the championships, all the games sort to blend in, but I know she's had a couple of tries so far, so a little different look in Nova Scotia we see. Some of the ones that were reserves or didn't get a chance to start a couple of days ago into the lineup. We'll get to the lineups here in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I think we'll see some Sydney with the made conversion. You'll see, the teams work on a few more combinations and get this is their one game day, so if anything they want to experiment with before going into the finals, they've got to do now.
Ella Fitt, number 10, going to see her in this one. I imagine, as I said, she was played in the Female Hockey League. They're from northern Nova Scotia.
Strong carrying there from Finley, get some stiff arms and some bump offs, able to get herself down on her own terms. That's Marley Laviolette with an athletic carry as well. Nova Scotia looking to go quick. A lot of urgency here off a quick tap. Starting to rumble away, some pick and goes. Still a yard or two to go there. Now they start to swing it wide.
That's good. Nova Scotia on the press here. I think I want to talk about maybe almost it's pretty much a second unit that they have set out here against Team Newfoundland here today. When you have basically people that could be starters anywhere else but are reserved here, that goes to talk about the strength of your team.
Back there, that was gained. We had another high tackle here, an offside, an offside. Out of hand. That, especially they listen and. I'm making the assumption that you want the penalty that's here. Yeah, okay. On the roll.
Chad just giving some warning to Team Newfoundland there that they're committing several penalties in a row in the attacking area.
Maggie Hillier.
But yeah, to your question, yeah, I mean a provincial team is generally loaded top to bottom with players that are impact players in their own teams, and so fantastic bump off.
Brownisha Willis Glasgow with the try for Nova Scotia.
So yeah, I mean on the one hand, really no weak links. Kind of whatever lineup they put out is going to be strong. But also then comes into play that it's a tournament. It's a 4-day tournament, and you've got to manage the legs, but also try and work your way towards peaking at the right time on Sunday in a gold medal game. And all these players they're happy to play the role that's asked of them, but they're all competitors, and they want to play as big a role as they possibly can. So they're going to look to do as much and impress as much and force the issue to get themselves the role that they want.
Now, in the other U18 games for Nova Scotia, we've seen Brownisha Willis Glasgow and just sort of like blow by. So when it was right down in that territory there, and they handed the ball off, that could almost be automatic.
Yeah, she's a very difficult player to stop from really any distance. As we get we need the doink counter.
That's, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah, they've got magnets in the uprights. But yeah, I mean Brownisha from any distance with the speed that she carries at and the strength is going to be hard to stop almost anywhere. But yeah, down around the goal line when a yard is the difference and you need to make a picture-perfect tackle, and she's got the ability to kind of change direction at the last second, to kind of off-balance the tackler. It's going to be hard to square her up and hit her hard and knock her backwards.
Reset. Caught on the run there by McPherson.
Able to drag the pile a little bit, just like she did on her previous carry.
Gunn with the swing out here to the try scoring Willis Glasgow. And she's also hovering, looking for another opportunity. Grabbed by Ella Fitt. Nova Scotia once again with possession. Ella Fitt. Kick down the field. Quinton going to chase it down for Newfoundland. Met there by Maggie Heller, pardon me. And into touch. May have asked this question in the previous broadcast, but we may have some new viewers that might have tuned in. It's that this Nova Scotia is a U18 team playing against U19, and they're not really showing any intimidation factor. They just say we're just as good, and we could be a U19 with like everybody else. Yeah, I'm really impressed with their composure, their way that they have handled being at this championships.
Yeah, it's been a great tool for development that these players get to play all together this year, and there'll be changes as new players improve or develop into next year, but I'm sure a large portion of the team will look very similar going into next year, and it really helps their development.
And another try for Team Nova Scotia. I believe that's Ava Demings. It gets it.
Yeah.
One of the challenges on a day like today is the sun glares right into the monitor, so that's sometimes you see things, sometimes you don't.
I think it was Maggie. Ava made that last pass, but Maggie was the one to touch it down. And she's been having a dynamic tournament as well. Maggie, a lot of her involvements have been very explosive.
Sydney Thompson, who's been doing the conversion kicking for U18 Nova Scotia, on here. Say just inside the 22 of New Brunswick. Outside the near post. Up.
Stuck
And
that
good.
in.
As she just tucks it in along that far post.
As I say, I have a personal affinity for the players that are coming to Acadia, and I don't want that to come through too much, but I have been very impressed with Sid's skills, the passing and kicking. Excited to get to work with Sydney a bit more.
Yeah, so it also you get a chance to, see some of the players that you're going to have, and you must be pretty excited for the upcoming season.
Yeah, and in this environment, we've gotten to see them in high school games and club games, but at a tournament like this, it's the kind of stiffest level of competition that they've had yet.
Something brewing here for
maybe some players.
Isla David, yes.
Yeah, maybe some players were concerned to face as Isla David's
going in to end and puts it down again. She's having herself a weekend and another try for Nova Scotia U18.
Yeah, Isla's a fantastic try scorer. She's looking to score when she touches the ball. You can see checking out where the defense maybe wasn't properly resourced and where they were maybe misjudging her ability and her athleticism. I think maybe they've got that space covered, but not with this sort of burst and power. Yeah, sneak to the outside. Sees a favorable matchup and
cuts in and just blows by Quinton, and
that's
pretty well almost an end-to-end. And that's our first one of the championships we've seen in either category. Here it is.
And I mean, you see there that she's looking to get to that weak outside, and then this is the part that's sort of the try scorers try, that step back inside, not to be happy, either just being tackled or to be forced into touch.
Amy Casello was forced to try to chase her down and couldn't. Love the patience there from Sydney. You're talking about how you're going to have her. You have to really, like the sort of the wind was kicking up, but then she showed a little bit of, patience there, making sure maybe this will die down to make this chip shot. It was down Main Street and right down the middle where the placement was, but
yeah,
still with a wind, there's no gimmies when you're dealing with that sort of conditions.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of pride in their kicking, similar to your conversation with Ailish last night. With a soccer background and I think enjoys the kicking aspect and the physicality aspect, but works on her craft.
And that was she was fantastic with that. We probably could have gone on for half an hour, probably set up chairs and have like a late night show from Windsor if we wanted to with that interview.
She's a riot, Ailish. Some great ball movement into a gap there is Sophia Black, but a great team bit of play before that.
Yeah, she looked like she was going to try to go pretty much from the midfield stripe down, but swing out by Fett.
Here in the sideline say go Avis. That must be Ava Demings on the far side.
Back out. McPherson.
To the try line.
McPherson with the tough goes, but gets it down. All important, that leg movement. Keeping the legs moving is basically when you get some contact, draw some contact. Legs may stop, but you didn't see it that time with Finling McPherson, and she just sort of just kept it going and gets it in for a try for Nova Scotia as we see it on replay.
Big thing for us is we not compromise our body position as we keep driving through this. The shoulders don't come back up. That's when you start to see people get driven back. So getting the maximum from, same with Sophia's carry, as much as you can get out of that carry, you get it, and then look to recycle and play again quick.
But you can also see that Newfoundland was trying to go high on the shoulders. The legs is where you get your strength, and try to go low on the ankles, and they were going high, and they paid for it.
Yeah, and that's a confidence, and that'll come with skill. I don't think it's not a conscious decision, but if you make that decision late, that's your only option to go high with hands. And if Finley's going to run that hard, that's not going to be enough to stop her.
Great down Main Street again for Nova Scotia, 35-0. So boy, a little bit of the reserves here getting a chance to play in this one, and they're definitely making hay here today. And also a little bit of some starters as well. So
Yeah,
for Nova Scotia, this is working out great because now for maybe, as you say, Stella Feedy, who's been a stellar player for them for the year, now you've got an option of maybe you want to rest her and have her fresh for tomorrow because tomorrow's a pretty important day, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow, if the standings were to stay sort of similar or as expected, they with the U19 women looking to top the group, this team would have a semifinal in the morning and a final in the afternoon. So yeah, the fresher they can feel for tomorrow, the better. And whatever role these players are being asked to play, the players that maybe get the chance to rest off that certainly appreciate it.
Knock on, and hasn't been a lot of those so far.
No, the handling's been quite good, as we sort of said through the tournament. The standard of most of the aspects of skill at this U19 and senior event are very high.
Just past 17 minutes. Down for the scrum. We'll listen to the sights and sounds.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Yeah, it's out.
Nova Scotia put some pressure on there, and now slowing down the breakdown to give their defense a chance to realign.
Amy Costello getting it into Nova Scotia territory, so Newfoundland looking to try to get something. Nova Scotia penalty.
Offside the call. Ireland Murphy, number 22, standing over for the quick tap.
Newfoundland looking for something positive to happen, and a real good pass to the outside there.
Chad Mahoney unhappy with that turnover attempt, so Newfoundland will get a chance to keep playing going forward.
Clouds starting to move on here, so it's made it like almost like you'd say perfect conditions right now, not too hot, because we just had that interview with David Smith from the previous game about the sun being out, so effective maybe getting in your eyes when you're trying to field kicks or see passes and things. Not a factor here, so there's no squinting going on right now.
Yeah, I think most players prefer just a moderate condition. They don't. You don't want the conditions to dictate the game too much. Either terrible weather and nobody's able to make the pass, or even the sweltering heat and the energy just gets sapped from the players and the hands get sweaty. So I think the truest reflection of how the teams are is sort of a mild day, a little cloud cover, so the sun's not blinding people. And I saw something where Bill Belichick was watching game tape and made a comment that the player must have had the sun in their eyes, and somebody said, how can you tell from this angle? He said, well, you look at the shadows, they're long behind them, then the sun must be in their eyes. Here, the shadow's short in front of them. Sort of interesting level of detail from what those top coaches are considering. That's a great run from Maggie. It was great carry from Ava to set that up. Ball delivered on time, and Maggie showing some of that explosiveness again.
And puts it down for the try. as the Nova Scotia lead increases.
And impressive to trust her pace enough to not head off for the corner flag there, but to keep.
T. Thompson looking for the tee. Where's my tee? It's found.
Yeah, only the limited amount of time to take the conversion, so run to meet Coach Janice halfway, and now we'll have sort of a truncated kick-up routine here. Be quick, but don't hurry. Dispute amongst the Celtics coaches whose responsibility that tee was.
The funny sights and sounds that you hear.
Yeah.
Have stories, but nothing that we can really share for on air. It's just something that if you got to come to a rugby match in your area, those type of stories that you could hear.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a great weekend with the U19 and seniors. Some of the senior women's team were at the host sponsor, the Spitfire Arms, last night.
Sophia Black
knocked on, played from an offside position is the call.
Erica Chater trying to get something positive and break the 0 on the scoreboard for them.
Stolen back by the Celtics.
Black uses the stiff arm to push away some would-be tacklers.
See if they're
Glasgow, sorry.
See if they're shaping for the kick here. You can see people getting sort of directed.
The left foot might not got a lot on it, but you almost got to be a switch foot kicker in this. That's maybe describe the difficulties that has come, or
yeah, certainly, and that's a good note for the young kickers that there's no rule that says you only have to use one foot, and that the sort of high level competent kickers have the right and left options available to them.
And this takes us to halftime. And in Nova Scotia right now with a comfortable lead, so we'll take a break and we'll be back with the second half of this one in just a couple moments here on Maritime Athletic Profiles. All right, plays back. Just about set to get underway between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia U18. Here at the Atlantic Rugby Championships from Windsor. Dan Hobson, Matt Malazza, the rest of the crew here. Nova Scotia sort of had a little bit of the reserves play in the first half of this one, and did they ever make the most of their opportunity?
Yeah, certainly. And as I say, like players that are looking to grab opportunities and force issues and grow their role. That kick eventually goes 10. But also, it's the whole tournament from Thursday to Sunday is a total team effort. Just got the
yeah, Newfoundland hasn't had a lot of touches with the ball. That's a joke with it.
Score update from the other field. Nova Scotia U19 women have won their game, and I believe that will solidify them top of the group.
Claire Goodyear pushed into touch.
Oh, my mistake. Those U19 women will play New Brunswick later on this evening, and that will be the game that finally determines the standings.
Black to start this lineout. Inbound for Nova Scotia. Just outside of Newfoundland Labrador 22.
A little bit of a miscue there in the lineout between the lift and jump, but it does look like Sophia was able to jump on it and recover.
Yeah, Cole might have got her fingertips on it for Newfoundland Labrador. Fit. Scooped off the turf. Isla David. Nova Scotia already with lots of points on the board and continuing.
Strong carry from Marley.
Marley Laviolette taking it closer there to danger zone here for Newfoundland. A little fake. Dipsy Doo Dunkaroo put it down for the try for Nova Scotia. Like I said, it was a good team effort. We've seen that throughout.
Yeah, we've got Isla pop to Maggie to get a first little break. Marley carries over the gain line, and then the backs link up, and Sid's able to find a little gap there off that step inside and keep the carry up. Only has to touch one white blade of grass to be grounded in the in goal. I don't know that she got any more than that.
Sort of like just had to break the plane.
Yep. A little bit more challenging angle than many of the kicks she's had so far, but whatever wind there is to speak of, I think, is helpful.
And short, so the flags stay down. That stays 47-0. Give a little history on me. The last time I was calling Atlantic Rugby Championships, it was at the Truro Saints Rugby Club. It was a few years back, and was seeing some of the after-tournament injuries. There was a player from the Newfoundland Rock, and it looked like he was growing a baseball out of his head. So what was the most gruesome injury that you've probably, ever seen?
There's one that did unfortunately see a pretty gruesome leg break, but the contact sport, the accidents happen and the gruesome injuries are there in any sport. But we actually at the Coast to Coast Cup final, which is a big representative level tournament they have in Halifax, a referee from the Valley, actually, Andrew Hines, caught a caught a straight cleat as a tackle was happening near the touch line. Got that cleat to the forehead, split himself open, but the sideline doctor / general manager / owner of the team, John Gillis, gave him a few staples and popped him right back in, and he kept reffing. Our referee in the middle right now, Chad Mahoney, actually has some John Gillis staples in his eyebrow.
You mean the actual famous Dr. John Gillis house calls guy?
The house calls with Dr.
The house
John.
calls guy.
Yeah, we call him Dr. Stapler. Yeah, any chance the doc gets to put a few staples in somebody's sideline, he takes it. And it's a great tackle to stop Isla David at full pace. We know how difficult that can be.
Play blown down. Well, that's just easy when you have like a coach, general manager, doctor. It's like
just
pretty much the jack of all trades there.
Yeah, he's a handy guy to have around, Doc. I'd love to see that tackle again if it's easy. I'd love to give credit to that Newfoundland player for making such a stop on Isla David if we can get it in before the scrum.
I just said this. Here, ask and you shall receive. I'll get that maybe.
We'll get it. Put it in the queue. Newfoundland awarded a scrum penalty at that scrum. They appear to be going to go quick here.
Well, yeah, take the highlights here. I've been impressed with Isabel Quinton, as you said, who made that tackle there.
Yeah, it's a tough assignment, as we see. The players not supporting their own weight, and then disagreeing with the call, which will require them to go back another 10. Chad Mahoney, a consistent referee in wanting to see continuity and awarding the attacking teams for going forward. You've got to be accurate, but credit to him. There's an accurate turnover right there, and it's awarded. But yeah, if anybody is on the ground affecting the clear out, he's not one to award the penalties. Looks like Stella Feeney is checked in. Perhaps Nell McClare will make out some of these substitutions from our vantage point.
Yeah, that's Feeney with the ball. Getting over the 10, halfway between the 10 and the 22 for Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia pushes the pile. Feeney in the middle of it. Do you remember the show Boy Meets World?
I think it just missed me, but I remember bits and pieces.
Yeah. There was, of course, the principal, the teacher,
Mr. Feeney.
Mr. Feeney.
Yeah.
And any time I see the word Feeney, all I gotta do is just think about Feeney. Just sort of sticks in my head there. So.
Time off here. See if we can get in on this conversation.
Recommendation yellow card off of that? 13? Okay. Can I have red captain, gray captain, and 13 gray? So just the message to you guys, tackle's got to go low. Okay, we've had 3 in a row there. Time was going off for a warning. Just pass that along, okay? That's all I need from you. 13, players on the deck, you've kicked them. That's been confirmed by the AR. Yellow card, okay? So it'll be a red penalty here. Okay.
Boy, you picked the right time to eavesdrop on a conversation there.
Yeah, we saw him making his way over to Anthony to confirm some foul play, so knew that was going to be an interesting conversation, and a great job by Chad there managing all those situations. A high tackle height that he's not happy with from Red, and then some foul play that needed to be dealt with.
So Demings will go to the Sid bin. Nova Scotia down a person. This is a good chance here over Newfoundland to Labrador to try to take advantage of it, or try to get some positive yardage, get down, and as I said, this is a team that's in development, and scrum just outside the Newfoundland Labrador 22. And changes to come as Lucy Van Berkel will come in.
7, 8 tries, 5 converts.
Add Sierra Phillips. Sophia Black looks to be done for the afternoon for Nova Scotia, so I have a funny feeling that we'll see plenty of more substitutions throughout here as Nova Scotia's on to the game management and tournament management. Cole with the win off the scrum there for Newfoundland Labrador, and like the Nova Scotia tackler with her for a few yards. Newfoundland Labrador, they've been sort of like in this game, the side of the field has been tilted pretty much. They haven't had
I
a
think
lot
they're
of good scoring chances. It's just been sort of like a dominant Nova Scotia effort,
Yeah, they'll be looking to break the game up into chunks and play, if there's 5-10 minute stints that they're happy with. The scoreboard hasn't ticked over in a while here, and they're starting to get some momentum in the penalties.
Tap and go, Ireland Murphy. Just shy of the midfield stripe.
Some space over here for Newfoundland if they can work their ball movement, and they have been very good at that.
Quinton with options. Dawson. Tackled into touch there by Gowdry.
Just playing a little too close to the touchline there, I think, without a plan as to how she was going to get away from it.
So, line out just shy of the midfield. Nova Scotia to throw it in. Marley Laviolette.
Overthrow, but Stella's come away with it. If she can get herself to ground here.
She keeps the leg moving and blows by, and seen leg streaked earlier in this championships and even today as well. Caveni.
Strong
again.
run by Aaron, yeah.
Thompson. Gabby Shaw saw some solid minutes in her game yesterday. And in again, and
Sierra looks like she's got visions of just going for the try here.
talked to her yesterday, and she's in again. Sierra Phillips for Nova Scotia, another try. 52 on the board for Nova Scotia. Take a look, it was pretty much tap, go, score. Now you see why they call it the tap and go. Thompson, take a little break. Well, the previous conversion, they had difficulty finding the tee. Not that case this time. It's inside the Newfoundland Labrador 22. No wind as of yet, but that could change in a quick second. As soon as I say that, is now going pretty much end to end, so she'll be kicking with the wind. And it's good. 54-0. Taking a look at some of the action that we've seen so far between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. ready for the restart. Live play. Knockout is unable to handle that catch in the wind with Nova Scotia, so might be one of the few errors so far for them. So scrum to come up. This is a 45-minute game, so getting close to 10 and change left to go. A joke. Scooped up by Murphy. And that will go into touch here for a line out. Nova Scotia to inbound as we're coming up to the 38th minute. So 7 and change left. As it's kicked downfield, so Newfoundland looking just to sit it right back where King down. A shank by Quinton. Easily picked up by Nova Scotia. Quick go pass. Deja Hooper Dixon difficulties with it. And she knocks it on. So we'll have a scrub just in between the 10 and the 22. And one of the things that if you're, sometimes people play to the scoreboard, but you can see that Newfoundland is still doing everything, like in terms of just if it was a 0-0 game for them, they still are trying, and they have spent a lot of time defending. There hasn't been a lot of offensive chances for them, but they've got a lot of heart and learning to play the right way. So I was thinking yesterday, it's a term I haven't used a lot recently, is, short-term pain for long-term game, as Banks said it on the outside. Yang Sarah with it. Yan Sanet. Yan Sanet, pardon me, from that Nova Scotia injury. And we'll step aside for a bit. Play back underway as they attended to Sydney Thompson, and she walked off to the field with a little bit of assistance, but on her own. So, as I say, with the medical staff here, but see if she returns here. We're into the 40 minutes, so less than 5 to go. So maybe that could be her game here and save her for, of course, Championship Sunday. Nova Scotia pressing again. Pass might have been a little bit behind, but gathered up by Marley Laviolette, who's had a stellar performance for Nova Scotia. Just slowly getting it closer to the try line as they swing it out. Feeney using a little bit of an arm there to try to create some separation. Nova Scotia once again with numbers to the outside. And they'll put it down for another try. Nova Scotia looking to break the 60 mark. In the meantime, Abby Cole's down for Newfoundland. As we take a look at this try line shot of the last Nova Scotia try. And with the injury, we'll step aside and be back with more here in just a couple seconds. So, checking back in for Newfoundland. And Santa here for them as the kick is up. And just like that, the whistles, quick blows there has ended this one. Nova Scotia with a 59-0 win over Newfoundland. So we're going to take just a little bit of a quick breather, and we'll wrap this one up between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. Back in just a couple of moments here as we will wrap up a little bit of the morning coverage here from the 2025 U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships here on Maritime Athletic Profiles. And welcome back. We're here with Bernicia Willis, Glasgow. Congratulations on the win. You also got Ryan this one. Tell us about the play.
It was good. I just went low, you know. Yeah.
Now you've been very explosive because, and of course, deep down in the Newfoundland territory, you must have thinking, just give me the ball. I know I can score here, isn't it?
Yeah. Like we've been working on getting lower into contact when we're close in our own like end. So yeah, I just did that.
Yeah, you're sporting the St. FX rugby shirt there, so proud member of the team.
Yeah, I'm going there like this year.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Mike Cavanaugh has been watching you. So what have you been improving? What have you been trying to improve on your game here at the championships?
Probably just like my defense and tackling, height. Yeah.
Yep. So attending St. FX, what would you be taking?
Forensic psychology.
Forensic psychology. Tell us all about that for maybe those that are not quite familiar with that program.
Well, it's like for like law force and stuff like that, and like forensics, like shows like Criminal Minds and stuff like that. But I want to be a mental health counselor, so it's not really the same. But like I'm really interested into forensics, so yeah.
Yeah, so you can be the next Horatio, putting the sunglasses on, sunglasses off, and CSI, eh?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that'd be a good role for you.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, there. What do you want to do with the sport there? Like maybe past leaving St. FX, get into coaching, officiating. Well, what would you like to do, or still continue playing?
I don't really know yet. Like, I just want when I go to university, like I'll just see where it takes me. Maybe I'll play for Canada, maybe not. I don't know.
That's a goal. That's a tease. Okay, thank you for this. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, so Team Nova Scotia with a big win here over Newfoundland. So for all of us, my name is Dan Hobson. Thank you for tuning in, and so long for you from Windsor.